Advertising agency and client relationships have gone through a sea change in the past decade, mainly driven by the fast-paced change in the media and consumer landscape. Although the agency-on-record model is still kicking, new partnership structures have emerged to adapt to a more demanding, always-on and cluttered consumer world. Some large clients today have not one or two or three, but multiple agency partners with a mix that includes legacy agencies and newer firms. Through these partnerships, marketers hope to get better at leveraging opportunities and navigating through a minefield of uncertainties as they go about building their brands. To understand how it works, we've got one such partnership right here in the studio with us for this episode of Media Dialogues with Storyboard 18. I'm Dalshad Irani, and today we're decoding the nature of new age agency-client relationships with one of the country's leading and biggest marketeers. We have with us Amit Doshi, Chief Marketing Officer of Britannia Industries, Subramanieshwar, better known as Subbu, who is the Group CEO of MullenLowe Lintas Group, one of the country's oldest and most respected agencies, and we have Harshal Karya, founder of Schbang, a relatively newer but large independent Indian ad network. Hello and welcome to CNBC-TV18, gentlemen. It's lovely to have you on the show.
Absolute pleasure,
Lovely to be here.
Thank you. So let me just kick in with the conversation today, which has been sort of percolating for a while, how agency-client relationships are evolving. And large clients like yourself are looking at bringing on board multiple agency partners. Now, let me just backtrack a little bit to your time even at Lenovo when you were heading marketing there to now. How has it changed for you? How have the relationships with your agencies changed for you? How have you seen it change in the industry?
It's definitely got very interesting and really dynamic. I would say that some of the foundational principles that build great enduring relationships between clients and agencies still continue to be the same. There has to be a huge amount of trust. There has to be a complete focus on what the business and the brand objectives are. But there also has to be this culture where both sides are pushing each other to get into producing bold breakthrough work. So I think some of those definitely don't change. But what I've seen changing definitely is with the number of jobs that are to be done on a brand, one definitely requires a multiple set of skills and which are complementary in nature. So I see it much like a sports team where you have many different players. Each one of them have a very, very concrete and a clear role. And if all of them come together, finally for furthering the brand's business objectives, it's win-win for all.
Absolutely.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, and Subbu, let me just come to you. Given, of course, low legacy firm and many clients, how have you seen relationships evolve? And then, of course, being part of a large group of agency partners that Britannia has, how is it? How does it work for you?
See, I think this phenomenon has started some time back. Technology firms have been doing it for quite some time. And when I look at, let me give you an example. Look at the way mobile phone companies today are giving you services on fashion and various kinds of things. When I look at transportation companies, okay, they give you services on leisure and various kinds of things. Similarly, look at insurance companies and giving you advice in areas which are not related to their business directly. I think there is a lot that advertising agencies can take a leaf out of that. Because see, today, I feel there's no one entity or one individual who can claim to have all the capabilities that are required in such a fast-paced world to develop and produce so many kinds of things. I think, so far agencies, when I look at it, or in general businesses, have thrived on disruption, competition, and those kinds of things. I think the future is about collaboration, participation, engagement. It's not going to be any more about, we should get out of this mindset of win-lose, zero-sum, beat the competition kind of thing. Get out of that and then see the common interest for any of the partners, in this case, when we look at Britannia, the common interest is the brand that we are all working on, the brand or the business. The only thing that the best interest for any of the partners is to how do I advance the brand.
Right.
In the process, how do we come together, collaborate, participate, and how do we create that shared value for the brand and the business and the client. I think that's going to be the future.
That's fundamental, absolutely. Before I come to you, Harshil, to just sort of pick on what Subbu also said, at last count, Amit, how many agency partners do you have across creative, media?
So we're blessed to have many. I don't count how many.
I know the count because I keep track.
But we're blessed to have today an ecosystem that's brilliant and thriving.
Yeah, and it is an ecosystem, right? And Harshil, you're part of that ecosystem. Of course, you have MullenLowe Lintas, again, a legacy firm. You are building a thriving, independent Indian ad network. So your role in this ecosystem, right? And how has it perhaps evolved? And when you come into it from a different perspective, perhaps. So tell us about that perspective.
Yeah, I think, firstly, it's very exciting to be part of this ecosystem in the sense that I love the way Amit puts the analogy of a sports team. So it is that feeling of a sports team. In a sports team, what happens, if you just break it down, yes, there is teamwork, but also the individual players pushed to better themselves. So I think that's the greatest advantage of being part of the Britannia ecosystem, because you have some, you have some stalwarts, you have some young guns, you have a nice combination, and you have Amit who's willing to back us all. Amit at the start of the year, he said that, look, I want us to go out and win at the international stage. I want us to be revered for our work at the international stage. I want us to be, as a team, the best marketers in the country. So yes, there is that feeling that we all want to advance ourselves. Now within that, I think Schbang has a clear role within the analogy of the cricket team or the sports team, if you may.
Yeah. And what is that role?
I think we bring in a certain kind of young, vibrant energy to kind of visually move the work forward. I think that's something that we've been trying to do across the board, whether it be the entire stuff that you've seen on Instagram with the food visual stuff that you've seen
with AI and Gen AI, and then of course CGI.
Absolutely, with Gen AI and also with the movement of CGI, absolutely,
Right.
and also the first pieces we just reimagined the way food is to be shot. That was one important part, and then I think within every campaign, now you'll see the Coffeeverse coming, which is again a stunning visual delight in terms of the way immersively consumers experience it. So how do we get consumers more immersively into the work that Britannia or the products that Britannia is building? We have something very exciting for the cricket season, upcoming cricket season as well. So that is another immersive activity. And I mean, in all of these, there is areas where we collaborate with the various partners.
Right.
And in some cases, actually, it's not a pitch, but we compete for ideas also. Sometimes we lose, we feel horrible.
Yeah.
I can't tell you. Like, it is because you're playing at that level.
But it's a healthy competition.
It is a healthy competition.
Again,
yeah.
your point about that sort of unhealthy scenario and culture that's created, because it's not, of course, the first time that large clients have multiple agency partners, but it's the nature of those relationships and those structures and that ecosystem, Amit, that you can perhaps shed light on.
It's also about having a very clear set of principles that are understood by everyone. Right. Yeah. So let's say, if one of the principles is that the best idea shall win, and then once that the best idea has been identified in the room, then everyone backs that top idea. Now, for the first time, it's difficult to do, but when teams see that play over and over multiple campaigns, they realize that there's consistency around staying with that principle.
Inside our systems also, it is the healthy competition is so good that the teams want to bring in their best for the sake of the best, not to beat the other person.
Right.
That Dilshad, it's that idea ecosystem. Like when you look at it, like it's an idea ecosystem. To me, three things happen. One is, the first thing is that network effects kick in. Okay, you come together and that starts happening. The second thing is the virality. Virality not in the way people use virality. What I mean is, it's like, see, we are creating a greater value for the audience through this partnership. That's what's happening. Like the brand is creating fabulous interactions and engagement with the audience.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing people advocating, which is, then they start becoming advocates of this. And then it doesn't really matter where it comes from, kind of. And the third thing is, like, to me, which is very, very important, is in this partnership, a lot of learning effect happens because you're sharing information, you're sharing knowledge, processes, practices, and all those come together and they create a beautiful learning effect for this relationship to go forward and for the partnerships and for the brand. Eventually, for me, it's the brand that benefits.
Yeah.
That's the holy grail. You hold on to that. And then see, everything has to be in the cause of the brand and the business as a consequence.
So in this, taking the sports analogy now again, you are of course one of multiple sort of legacy agency partners in this ecosystem. So what is your role then? Is it that sort of divisional in the sense that, you know, you have sort of the newer firms looking at more digital focused, tech focused stuff, and then of course you have the legacy firms focus more on television or print or whatever that is. But what is say Mullens' role?
Can I take that before Subbu goes?
Sure.
And I was just going to come to this. I feel that these definitions that we have, which is there is a mainline agency, a mainline firm, and then there's a digital agency, and then there's a media firm and a PR agency. I think we've got to get out of that paradigm.
Yeah.
Finally, where, you know, yes, so let's say we work with BCW Genesis. They could be bringing in core expertise in PR, but finally they are equally a creative outfit. And I'll just give you an example. You know, you'd think that the Lowe Lintas team would be great at turning out great television commercials, which they are, by the way. But for some of the work that's happening on Marigold, which is in terms of digital and us building an ecosystem, it's actually Subbu and his team who's leading that. And to make matters a little more chaotic, a little more confusing, Harshil and team have short commercials for our activation pieces, which have gone on television. And for the latest product that we just launched, Jim Jam Pops, brilliant piece of creative done by the WOM team. But the introductory print ad and the pre-buzz idea was done by Harshil and team. So I don't know where, you know, where do these partitions begin and where do they finish. For us, it's really about, you know, the idea, who gets it on the table, and then how does everyone come together and rally behind those ideas to make them happen.
Tell us, like, what is it like? You have an idea, what happens? How does it flow? How does it get to the point that what we see then on television or in print or on our screens? How chaotic is it?
Yes, there were earlier instances of, like, you know, you sourced somebody, can you come and help me in this? Can you help me execute this kind of thing? But in this partnership, what I love in this partnership, and which is going to be the truth of it, is business gets done through interactions and not transactions. Okay? The mindset is you have to move that. You and I have to interact together. It's not a transactional thing, is you do this and then I pay you this. And it's not that. Because again, both of us are coming together for the same brand.
Yeah.
The common cause is there.
You don't see them as vendors. You're
correct.
not. Yeah.
In that partnership, what happens is, whether it is from our side or from Schbang's side or from Britannia's side, kind of thing, there is no finely defined rule book which has come up after 60, 70 years or 50 years of practice. Like, this is how things are done, are the best practices. We launch and learn. You learn through the process, and then those become, how do I get better at it next time, and how do I keep bettering it? That's why I said about the learning effect. You learn through each other. So the role of, in this case, Amit or anybody, Amit's team, or from me or from Harshil or anybody, whoever is anchoring that brand, okay, it really becomes like a conductor in an orchestra. Okay, you cannot control everything. There are several things that are happening. How do I ensure that all the things stay in harmony, and then the brand doesn't get disturbed or distracted in the process? People play around with it. There will be some people who like it, some people may not like it, but it doesn't matter. But it's
a change.
It's a change, and what happens is the brand comes across as a lot more holistic, and in terms of, like, engaging the audience, and you get that holistic experience.
Yeah. Harshal, I'll come to you first maybe. Given your role in this team, what were some of the initial challenges?
First, you have to understand your role. I think it takes some time to understand the role.
Yeah.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
I think that is the first challenge, because you are put into the team, you don't know the players. I mean, yes, there's a sports team analogy, but the sports team trains every day together. Here you're not training together, you're in your four walls. So it takes a bit of time, interaction. All credit to the Britannia marketing team that they have taken significant initiatives to put us all in the same room a couple of times, so that we all understand each other. We also see the work, we sense, feel. So then you kind of get your position. But I think also Amit made an important point that, yes, there is the analogy of the sports team, but at the end of the day, the idea is winning. Ultimately, what drives brand growth is winning. And, we are all here in service of what we need to do to ensure that Britannia grows. So that is what most of us are tuning to. Yes, we have certain skill sets, and I think the orchestrator in some sense knows the skill set. So they also know when to pull each member in, because we may not have the complete view always. I don't know if it will work for everybody. I don't know if it works for, I think you need a seasoned set of marketing professionals also to run this exercise, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because you need that, and at the end of the day, there's tremendous pressure. There's the category that we are sitting in is facing competition. So this is not like a hunky-dory show where everybody has to really, everybody gets their chance. It's a competitive marketplace. So, I'm sure there are all these, these various factors at play, but it's enjoyable is what I can say.
Yeah.
And Amit, the conductor, right? You're in charge of.
No,
making such a
I hope I'm not the
symphony
conductor every time. And I'll give you examples of when there are times when even the Britannia team's not been the conductor. But yes, to make things a little more real, is it all hunky-dory, as Harshal said? No, it took quite a bit of time. And I would like to believe that we are still work in progress. It's still very, very early days. And we've experimented with this for about 18 months. We've seen some good results. There's also good learning on how to improve the model.
And
get,
what are some of those learnings that have
I think
stuck out?
one is being very, very clear. I mean, again, goes back to some fundamental principles. One has to be very clear on what the objective is, what the business objective is, what the marketing task is. If there's clarity around the room on what success looks like, then it's so much easier just to begin with. And I think most marketers struggle there at the first hurdle itself. The second thing is a very clear common sense principles. The first is around rallying around the big idea, the top idea. The second is to build that culture within the room that everyone else, when they're responding to someone's idea, are speaking to build on that idea as opposed to challenging it. So to create that environment where everyone gets, as Harshal said, their best selves to the party. And finally, there's no formula that we're going to go by. So it doesn't have to be the 30-second TVC. We first get the idea, and then perhaps the best execution that delivers to it. So I think with time and trust, there's also a culture of give and take
Right.
that builds up,
Credit.
and a whole lot of credit
Because
sharing.
again, I mean, in advertising, that's been a huge
And a
point
whole lot of
contention,
credit sharing.
right?
I think
Who
there
gets
has to
credit
be
for the idea.
There has
Who
to
owns
be
the idea?
Absolutely, there has to be a mentality of enough, and if that's there and there's good credit sharing, give and take starts taking shape.
It's that shared value, Dilshad. It is shared value. The moment we get into that and start buying into it and practicing it, it's that shared value. You are creating shared value between us, and you are creating shared value for the audience, shared value for the brand, client. And I think it's that. You need to embrace that mindset, which is why I said, forget about transactions and look at interactions. And business will be done through that way.
Right.
And it's beautiful. It's winning through sharing. I would say that will be.
That's very well put.
Yeah.
Winning through sharing.
It's very well put.
The other thing we are seeing in our country right now, this is a new mindset we are seeing in all of us. Because by 2075, we are going to be the second largest economy in the world. So we are, poised at the start of a hockey stick growth. So a lot of brand marketers who are looking at this, CMOs who are looking at this from newer companies who all follow your show. I think the rules of trying to put the best team together for enabling for that hockey stick growth these are some of the rules. And I think simultaneously at the agency side also, like Subbu said, we have to break some of the old rules. So this is an example of breaking some of the old rules. There was a lot of like I, me, myself thinking, which sometimes our industry is infamous for. So we have to kind of change that. I think we also, I think what Subbu said, I echo that you cannot be everything for all clients at once. You may be. There are examples of good partnerships where clients do everything with one agency.
Exactly.
But you will see that I can guarantee you, for the size of workforce that this industry is, we will not be able to see that across every client across the board. So there will be unique models that come up. This is a good framework for an interesting unique model.
There are several market makers who are coming as an outer circle, as an outer bigger circle. People like, there could be knowledge partners chipping in with some knowledge. There could be technology partners. There could be some research partners, like, and there could be something like, Harshil mentioned about the rise of like local influencers, and maybe like, they may come and play a certain role in the process and then go, and that's where it is. So this whole thing is like, a beautiful, to me, a beautiful interaction field around the brand is getting built. To me, the competition as we have known and as we have grown is out.
Final word. Amit, I'll let you have the sort of the last word on, is this the way forward?
I think so, and that's why we are practicing it. And I think Subbu summarized it quite well. And we really hope that what we're able to get out of these partnerships is something that's truly enduring, and that really makes our brand shine in the marketplace, because that's what we are eventually and finally delivering to. Finally, competitions in the marketplace, not within the boardroom.
Yeah.
Well said, well put. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time. It's an engaging and illuminating conversation. Now things are changing, so I'm very glad we could talk about it.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank
Pleasure,
you.
Dilshad. Thank you.
So much.
Thank you so much.
When you let ideas lead you to the cutting edge, when you turn insights into innovations, and use creativity to shape brands with purpose, you become a visionary. An initiative by Storyboard 18, a night brimming with thought-provoking dialogues and celebrating the sharpest minds in brand marketing. October 27th at 6:30 p.m. in Gurugram.